Hey guys, Luke here and welcome back to the channel. In my last video, I showed you all how to set up Docker on Raspberry Pi, which is a very powerful containerization software. Today, we're going to use the Docker engine to set up WireGuard, which is a very simple and lightweight VPN server. This is perfect for accessing your home network remotely and securely from anywhere in the world. Now, if you followed along with my last two videos, the process of setting up this VPN should be pretty straightforward. As I mentioned in my last video, if I was setting up my own application, I would likely hand you a Docker file, which contains an instruction set for building Docker images. However, I may have overemphasized the Docker file just a little bit because a lot of software out there already has Docker images built and ready for you on a website called Dockerhub, which is just an official repository for Docker images, similar to the way software is hosted on GitHub. All right, so this is Dockerhub. You can find it at hub.docker.com. If we head over here to the search bar and we type WireGuard, the first thing that pops up should be the official image, and it's Linux server / WireGuard. So if we click on it, it'll take us here to the Dockerhub overview. And this, as you can see, isn't all the info we need. And it even says it right here. This README has been truncated from the full version found here. If we click this, it'll take us to the software located on GitHub. And if you notice right here is the Docker file, if you were interested in looking at what that looks like to build the Docker WireGuard image. However, they've already built the image, which is located right here, Linux server / WireGuard. And when we go down here in the usage, it's actually going to pull it, the latest version. So if you don't have it, downloaded, it's okay. It's automatically going to pull it. So don't worry about that right now. So we're going to look here at the usage and how to use these. Down here, all of the parameters you'll need if you wanted to, edit these optional ones, but we're going to go over all this, so don't panic yet. So let's go ahead and get started by heading over to our Raspberry Pi desktop. Once you're on your desktop, go ahead and open up the terminal, and just like before, we're going to paste the update command just to make sure our system is up to date before we get started. All right, once that's finished, go up to your file manager and then go into the documents folder, and in here, we're going to create a new folder called Docker. And this is where we're going to store all of our projects just to keep everything nice and tidy. So go ahead and enter the Docker folder, and now we're going to create a folder for our VPN server. So I'm going to create a new folder and call it WireGuard. Now we're ready to set up and run the image. Back on the WireGuard documentation, you'll notice there are two ways to use it. One is by using the terminal, exactly how we set up Portainer in our last video. The other uses Docker Compose, which is just a tool included with Docker for defining and running containers. I prefer to use this method for a few reasons, and here's why. One, Docker Compose uses a YAML file that stays permanently in the folder we just created. It also separates the parameters in a way that makes it a bit easier to digest. Two, it makes it easier to manage applications that rely on multiple images at once. For example, our project next week that we're going to work on, building your own cloud storage server, also relies on a database image so that we can store our files. This YAML file will hold the configuration for both of those images in a single place. And finally, the third reason, and this comes from personal experience, it makes it super beneficial 6 months from now when you need to update your image and or change some parameters and you may have forgotten what you've done. All right, so enough yapping. Let's get this image up and running. If we go into our WireGuard folder that we just created, we're going to create a new file called compose.yml. This is your YAML file. So let's right-click this and we're going to open it with the Genie Programmer's Editor. So back on the GitHub README, under the usage section, go ahead and copy the Docker Compose code block by clicking this little icon here in the top right corner. Now back on your Raspberry Pi, go ahead and paste that code block into your compose.yml file. So obviously this first one here is the image it's going to pull from Dockerhub. We're just going to leave that as is. As for the container name, this can be anything you want, but I would suggest leaving it as WireGuard because when you get a bunch of containers up and running, it'll make it very easy to clarify which one is which. The cap add options, the net admin is necessary for WireGuard to create its VPN interface, and the second one is necessary for loading WireGuard kernel if it's not already loaded. So I would just leave these as is. Down under the environment parameters here, the PUID and the PGID are set to 1,000. You can verify that by typing ID space your username. So mine's Luke, so I type ID Luke, and you can see here the UID is 1,000, the GID is 1,000. Yours is most likely going to be 1,000 as well, so we can leave that as is. All right, next up is the time zone. If you look under functions for this one, you'll see there's a list you can choose, and it will open up this Wikipedia page of time zones, and you'll want to copy exactly what's under the TZ identifier, but you'll want to pick the one that's relevant to you. So for me, we'll go down here to the Americas, and I'm going to look for the one that says New York. So right here, America/New York. So I'm going to copy this identifier I'm going to open up our window here for our Raspberry Pi, and then I'm going to, right after the equal sign, I'm going to paste America/New York. All right, now we're getting into some of the optional ones, and we're still going to step through these one by one. I'll just show you what they do. Any of these optional ones, if at a later point you decide you don't need it, instead of, for example, just getting rid of it and deleting it, I would leave it there and just comment it out like that. And the purpose for that is in the future, when you come back and edit this, or you want to change some settings, you're not just missing, a parameter. You can still see it here. You can just uncomment it and then adjust it as needed. All right, so first up is the server URL. And this is meant to be, as you see here under function, the external IP address. So this is not the IP address of your Raspberry Pi. It's the IP address that your internet provider is assigning to you. If you're not sure what that is, you can actually just Google what is my IP address, and there's plenty of websites out there to tell you what that is. If you continue reading, it says you can type auto and it will try to automatically determine that. And that's what I suggest you do. I've always just put auto here and I've never had any issues with that. For the server port, this is going to be the external port for the Docker host. It's used in server mode. We are using server mode, so I'm just going to leave this as 51820. So the peers is just the number of peers to create configurations for. So we're going to start out with 1, and I'm going to connect my phone to it. But if you want to connect your laptop later, you'll change this to 2, and it'll generate 2 configurations. This is the peer DNS, which is just the DNS server that your clients are going to use once they connect to your VPN server. If you leave it as auto, it's going to use the Docker host DNS. I suggest you change this to Cloudflare's DNS server. It's the one I've always had the best luck with. It's just 1.1.1.1. You could also use Google's DNS server, for example, which is 8.8.8.8. However, I personally don't trust Google, and I don't want my DNS queries going through them. So I'm going to continue using Cloudflare's. So we'll move on to the internal subnet. This is the subnet of IP addresses it's going to use for the VPN server. Unless you have a reason to change this, I would just leave it as the default. The allowed IPs are the specific range of IPs that are allowed to reach the VPN connection. The default, as you read here, is 0000, and it allows all traffic to route through the VPN. If you want split tunneling, if that's a configuration you want, that's where you would configure this here. However, we're going to leave it as the default option. This is the persistent keep alive peers. If you read the function, if you set it to all, it allows the WireGuard server to send keep alive packets every 25 seconds. And from my experience, setting it to all just helps maintain your VPN connection a little better. I suggest you set it to all. And as for the logs, it will just help you diagnose any issues and let you see, what your VPN server is doing. Once you get it up and running, if you don't want that anymore, you can just come in here and turn it off. All right, so next up are our volume parameters, and this is where we're going to map the configurations in our container to our folder that we created earlier. So if I right click and create new folder, we're going to call it config. So if I go into the config folder, up here in the address bar, we're going to select the whole address. We're going to copy it, and then right here where it says path to WireGuard config, all the way up to this colon here, we're going to select everything before the colon, and we're going to paste it. So if you've been following along up to this point, yours should look something like home / whatever your username is / documents / docker / WireGuard / config. And it's mapping this address in your folder here to the config of the container. And then the second one here is the path to the host kernel for situations where it's not already loaded. So we're just going to leave that as is. And then ports, the default port for WireGuard is 51820. So we're going to leave that as is. And then this parameter here, this one's required for client mode, but we're using server mode, so it's not really relevant, but it doesn't hurt to leave it here. If you don't want it, you can comment it out. All right, and the last parameter here is what happens when your Raspberry Pi is restarted or rebooted, and the unless stopped basically just tells it to automatically restart the container when it boots back up. So now that all these are filled out, I'm gonna go up here, I'm gonna save the file, I'm gonna go to the terminal, and from here we're gonna change directories into our WireGuard folder. So I'm gonna type cd documents / docker / WireGuard. I'm gonna hit enter. And now if I type ls, which will list what's in this folder, you can see we're in our folder that has our compose file and our config folder. So from here, I'm going to type docker compose up -d. That just stands for detached mode. So here we're going to go ahead and it's going to download our image, and then it's going to set up our container. So once that's finished, if we open our WireGuard folder back up and we go into our config here, you'll see that it's now mapped the container configs to this config folder. And since we listed one peer earlier in our compose file, it's generated one peer folder here that if we enter, this is all of the configurations we need to set our client up, which in my case I mentioned was my phone. So if we open peer1.png, this is a QR code that we're actually going to scan with the WireGuard app on my phone. And this contains all of the settings needed to get that client up and running. So let's do that now. So back on your phone, you want to make sure we're not connected to Wi-Fi because we're testing for network access outside your network. So once you have the WireGuard app downloaded, open it up, and we're going to click Add Tunnel, and then the Create from QR code. And then we're going to scan that file that we just opened. I'm going to go ahead and give it a name of PyVPN, and then we'll save it. If you're on iOS, it's going to require your iPhone password to add this VPN configuration. So we can go ahead and turn this on, and you'll notice at the top there, it looks like the VPN server did connect. If I go into the settings here and check out our tunnel, it looks like it's active. Everything looks appropriate, but under the data sent there, you'll notice there's no data received. And if we go test this out, we'll open Safari and try to load raspberrypi.com, and as you can see, nothing happens. So at this point, you've actually configured your VPN server correctly, and we've even connected one of our devices to it. But as you notice, nothing is loading. And this is expected behavior. And it's because your router is preventing anything that's outside your network from accessing the devices on your network. And this is for security reasons, right? You don't want people out here being able to hack your devices here. So the way we get around that is by telling our router to forward all of the data coming in on the port we set up in our compose file, 51820, to our Raspberry Pi VPN server. Because that's the whole point of a VPN, is to allow us to access our network from outside the network. So essentially, if I'm on the other side of the world, once I get this up and running and forward the port here, once I connect to that VPN tunnel, it will create a tunnel that goes through whatever cell tower I'm connected to and connects me to the internet, and then goes to my specific IP address, and then all of the data that's going through this port is forwarded right here to the VPN server. And that's what will provide us VPN access from anywhere in the world. And once we're connected, we'll have access to all of the devices on our network. All right, all we have left to do is to forward that port on our router, and then our VPN setup is complete. I'm going to show you how to do it on my specific router. However, this is the part of the video that can be slightly technical because it's highly likely you have a different router than me. And it's no big deal. Port forwarding is a configuration that's common on most routers, and the process of setting it up is pretty much the same. So I'm going to walk you through it on mine, and if yours is different and you're not able to follow along, you can just Google or YouTube your specific router, port forwarding, and there's tons of information out there on how to set it up. This is just an old portable router I had laying around, and it's just to show you guys how to log in. Somewhere on your router there should be a sticker that looks something like this. And if you look on it, you should see something like IP address, username, password. And this is what we're going to use to access our router dashboard. So back in our browser, if we type the IP address located on the back of our router and hit enter, you should be prompted to log in with your username and password. If this is your first time logging in, your username and password will be what's located on the back of the router. In this case, it was admin and the password was admin. So when I sign in, and here we go. This is the dashboard of my router. Now, there's a bunch of settings you can edit in some routers, but what you're looking for is something called the WAN, which stands for Wide Area Network. So we're going to click on that, and up here in these tabs, you'll notice this one here has port forwarding in it, and that's the one we want. So I'm going to click on that. Once you're on the port forwarding tab, down here, you're going to want to add a profile. So in the custom configuration here, in the service name, I'm going to call it PyVPN. On the protocol, I'm going to put UDP because that's what we listed in our compose file. The external port is what we listed earlier, 51820. And here you're going to enter the internal IP address, which is your Raspberry Pi's IP address. If you don't remember what that is, you can go back to your Raspberry Pi desktop, hover over your internet connection, and you're looking for the one under your Wi-Fi address. So in this example here, it's the 192.168.1.222. So if I go back to my router dashboard, I'm going to type 192.168.1.222. So this is it. So I'm going to click OK. So now as you can see here, we've got our service name, PyVPN. We have the external port to listen to. We have our IP address of our Raspberry Pi and the protocol we're going to use. At this point, we can enable port forwarding. And once that's done, you're going to want to reboot your router. And that's all there is to it, to open a port on your router. Once that's finished and your router is done rebooting, if you go back to your phone, and now, just like before, we'll open up the WireGuard app, we'll turn on the tunnel, and you'll notice it connect in the top right corner. Now we can go back to our browser and test it out. So we'll open up Safari, and now if I refresh raspberrypi.com, it loads right away. Just for fun, if I load the IP address on my router like I did earlier, you'll see it treats it as if I'm on my network, even though I'm connected to the internet through a cell tower. And there you have it, a fully functioning WireGuard VPN server running on Docker on your Raspberry Pi. You can now securely access your home network from anywhere in the world. This sets us up nicely for our next project where I'm going to show you how to set up your own cloud storage server. And again, this VPN will allow you to access your personal cloud anywhere in the world. I'm going to do my absolute best to get this video out this weekend. I know this video took a couple extra days to release, and I apologize for that. However, some of you know the US had some of its worst winter storms it's had in a while this week, and on top of that, my car's radiator decided that it was ready to check out. So I had to spend a couple days in the sub-zero tundra trying to repair that, but everything's back on track now, and I'm back to working on this Raspberry Pi project, setting up your own cloud storage server. So if that's something that interests you, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you right here soon. Thank you guys for watching.